how would I know if I'm there in that spot? How to access the mobi application?
Well, it's not the mobi application, it's Zagat's application.
Yeah,
so if
course,
you're used to using the Zagat the guide, they actually promote Zagat.mobi. So you would know that that is the mobile incarnation of the guide they typically use, and they promote it quite heavily. It's actually been written up in almost all of the major American newspapers and quite a few European newspapers. So Zagat is getting the word out because they understand the utilization of their online service is so much more powerful at times than their booklets. And they're putting more and more efforts into.
I will come back to that.
They're headquartered in New York, by the way, and you cannot get into a cab in New York without seeing a Zagat.mobi advertisement between you and the driver.
But I can take that further on the workshop.
Okay, well, you want to talk about it?
As I see it, the problem is the accessibility to the application that is the big problem. For example, if all companies would have a standard that mobile.company name whatever would transfer it directly to .mobi applications, then everybody would access it.
We'll talk about the lack of convention commonality
accessibility
is a key. So again, we believe that your great mobile site should be much more than just a comm site stuffed onto a screen, and we preach that pretty heavily with good visuals, by the way. So the other thing that you want to make sure of is that if you do have good mobile content, how are people going to access it? What's the guessability of your mobile site? So I would challenge any one of you to guess the mobile URLs of these companies, Google, Yahoo, B of A, MSN, and Zagat, that they have in addition to the .mobi. So, because obviously they're all different.
That's the
right?
problem.
That is the problem, right? So the commonality, we believe, is through the .mobi namespace. That is a common naming convention that's much easier, much more readily available, and we believe that's the standard that's going to emerge, so that's what we're promoting. One of the things we're promoting. Just so happened I was with a major telecommunications company, we were at dinner, and he was trying to find the train station schedule, and instead of using a .mobi, he guessed about 10 times at the convention that was probably used for the train station. He never got it. So he went to the local .mobi city site for that particular city, and then accessed the train schedule from there. So yeah, you want to make sure it's guessable, and .mobi is the most guessable of the group. And there are plenty of companies that we're currently working with that have .mobis that are subscribed to that very view. They're all guessable. Mobithinking.com. So we've created a free resource site called mobithinking.com, specifically aimed at mobile marketers and ad agencies. So what we're trying to do is populate best practices, white papers, case studies, and various other services for mobile marketers and agencies to help them understand the best ways that the ways people are marketing and promoting their content on the mobile web in different ways other than just putting their PC site on. And I highly recommend you go there, and if nothing else, watch the video that Smirnoff did around their mobile content. It really crystallizes a lot of the ways they thought about it uniquely for the mobile web. But that's a free service that we provide. One thing that I think is important for us to recognize is how do we get the long tail, not just the early adopters, not just the brands, but what happens to all the small businesses around the corner stops that want to get on the mobile web. And if you think about this is a derivation of a Maslow's hierarchy of needs, but what we did when we went out and surveyed the mobile web landscape and potential buyers and content owners is that the early adopters are well up the curve. They're thinking about how they optimize their mobile experience. So they've bought in, they're on the mobile web. The brands have bought in, but they don't quite know, let's say, the best ways to get their content and reach their customers in a value-added way. So they're still asking, how do I really reach my customers using the mobile web? They're a little bit farther down the chain. And a lot of the small business marketplace, which, by the way, of the 63 million websites that exist today on the internet, they own 40 million of those 63 million sites. So it's the vast majority of the population of web content that's out there today, not in terms of pages, but in terms of sites. They're still asking in a lot of markets, what is the mobile web? And why do I care? And if we want to move those folks up the chain and get them onto the mobile web in the near term versus a couple of years from now, then we have to answer those questions for them. We have to move them up the chain. So one of the things that .mobi has done is we've essentially created what I call a starter mobilization service. So we call this the Instant Mobilizer, or our total mobile solution. And what we're doing is we're taking a PC site, and we are we're adapting that PC site. We can do it with any PC site very effortlessly. And we're providing a made-for-mobile, not a rendering of the PC, but a made-for-mobile content experience. So in addition to rendering the PC site and the content for the mobile device, we also use device detection to optimize it for any device, which is key. So no matter what the device your customers are trying to find you on, they can find you on this. We add made-for-mobile services like we're automatically creating any of the phone numbers that are on the site, automatically are click-to-call. Any of the addresses are automatically linked to mapping functions. We're integrating WAP push, SMS, tell-a-friend functions. We're cleaning up the code so that the cleaned up code that goes out on the mobile site is very nice. We're adding a semantic web data, H-card information, so it's very searchable, easily accessible from that mobile device. What we believe, though, is that this is a way not to have them have a long-term site, but it's a way to get small and medium businesses on the web, cross the chasm with a starter site. And once they start to use that, they're going to want to do other things. They're going to say, yeah, I really like this, but here's some other things I want to do. And we essentially are trying to create the world's greatest feeder system for custom mobile development applications and development houses. Because it's hard as a custom mobile development house to convince somebody to use your services if you're having to tell them what the mobile web is. But if they're already using it with a basic function, and it's free, we're providing this free wrapped around a .mobi domain, then you can target all the folks within Sweden, for example, who have used this service, but now may want to graduate up to a custom solution. So we feel like that we're feeding the marketplace and feeding custom web development companies with now companies, small businesses that recognize the mobile web, see value, and are promoting it. So the job of the mobile web custom development house should get significantly easier. And we feel like we can target a vast majority of the 37 million or 40 million small to medium business PC sites that are out there in the world.
I was wondering, if you have great device detection, why do you need both device detection and a special top domain for the mobile site? Why can't the .com just use device detection to deliver the best experience for whatever device you access it from?
So we believe that the fact that there's no convention right now, you should get both. You should get all of them. You should have m.wap. mobile. /mobile. You should do anything that you think your customers are guessing. Why leave any of your customers out if they're guessing right now? And we believe you should have a .mobi. Now, one of the things with a .mobi is that it's the only one of those choices that's going to get you into a zone file. And the zone file is one of the guaranteed things that the search engines will always check to recognize and try to find websites. So one of the risks you take if you do not have a .mobi is that hopefully you can get your site found on a SEO basis by some of the search engines, but there's no guarantee. So we think you should get all of them. We think we're the cleanest representation, and we're the only ones that are both, with our Instant Mobilizer, providing that kind of SEO data, metadata, automatically embedded for you as a small business, but also as any business, get into the zone file and guarantee yourself that the search engines are going to find you no matter what. So we feel like that's the message. Do them all, but make sure you get your .mobi. It's the best $10 you can ever spend, essentially.